As I said, we're gonna watch Sam Does Art. He's a really good content creator. He does a lot of art focused content, just art
All
focused content. I
right.
don't think he does anything else. Definitely check him out. I need to hold on. Start over. All right, I'm gonna play this. Yeah. Let me turn off music. And if you do have this part of the YouTube video, by the way, go ahead and like and subscribe. Do all that awesome, fun stuff. Comment below. All right, let's go ahead and play.
All right.
What's up, guys? So I know as artists we are always trying to get better and we're always trying to improve, but nobody ever seems to talk about what if you want to go the other way? What if you want to be unique and just get worse? So in this video we're going to be challenging the established societal norms as we explore 6 ways to become the worst artist you could possibly be. And if you're Asian like me, you can now disappoint your family even more by not just being an artist but also being a bad artist. Number 1, listen to everybody online. If you come across a TikTok made by a little 12-year-old, you gotta follow that shit like the Bible, brother. You're gonna treat their prepubescent techniques and their methods like the literal word of God. And if you come across another child who makes a tutorial that contradicts that, I'm sorry, you gotta follow that too. You gotta follow every single one. If someone tells you to go that way and someone else tells you to go that way, you've got to listen to both, which means you'll probably sit in the exact same spot and not move in either direction like a dead, sun-dried, crispy cockroach on the sidewalk that everyone just walks past and makes a face at, like, ugh. Ooh. Now, if you're not satisfied with that and you're a high achiever like myself, you can take this one step further. Go do your research. Anytime you come across a tutorial, go look up the work of the person who made that tutorial. And in order to be the worst artist possible, you should only listen to the people whose work represent everything that you do not want to accomplish. Number 2 on how to be a worse artist. Don't look for any tutorials. Don't look for any lessons. Just draw. If you just move the pencil across the page enough times with enough conviction and enough self-hatred, you will eventually unlock your full potential at being the worst artist that you could possibly be. Do not listen to other people. What's that you said?
Nah.
You want to look up a tutorial on how to draw anatomy? Oh, you absolute animal. You how dare you seek out knowledge when you have it all up here? Shame on you. You can't figure out how perspective works? Hey, don't look up a tutorial. Come on now, you don't need to look up Proco. Who's that guy? He has pro in his name, and that's not what we want to be. We want to be as far from that as possible. Anytime.
Yeah. Far away as possible.
You're stuck on a subject, stay stuck. Point number 3 on how to get worse and be the worst artist you could be afraid of failure. So before you start any piece that you ever want to work on, I want you to think to yourself, wow, this is probably not going to turn out the way I want it to. Visualize that failure when that piece does not turn out. I want you to soak in that fear. I want you to let it consume you to a point where you don't even want to put the pencil on the paper anymore. And you know how people out there always say stuff like, oh, just keep a sketchbook for yourself, draw for yourself. You don't have to always share it with the world because you should allow yourself room to fail. Well, in order to be the worst artist possible, we should absolutely not listen to any of that nonsense because failure only leads to growth, and we do not want to grow. Always think about failure. Always imagine anything that could possibly go wrong. If you're not confident drawing anatomy, don't try it because you're probably gonna fail. If you're not confident with color theory, never color your drawings because you're probably gonna fail. And that, my friends, is how you stay the worst artist you could possibly be and how you remain as a dried up cockroach on the sidewalk twitching in the wind. Point number 4, I want you to constantly be worrying about your social media presence. I want you to think about it 24/7. I want you to lose sleep over it, and not only that, I want your social media presence to dictate everything you do. You gotta absolutely go out there and chase those numbers, okay? You gotta get those 25 likes up to 30 likes. Always draw what you think the people want to see. Never draw anything for yourself. And in fact, it's even better if you draw things that you don't even like because you're trying to get those social media numbers up. Have you gotten really tired of drawing a certain genre of art, but your audience of 500 people really love it? Well, I've got good news for you. You are in the perfect situation. I want you to keep doing the things that your audience wants to see until you've burnt out and you don't want to do art anymore. Sometimes we go online and we see people telling us stuff like, don't pay too much attention to the numbers. Instead, pay attention to your own growth as an artist. Next time you hear somebody say that, tell them to shut the hell up. You should make art not for yourself, but to try to impress others. Number 5, be as inconsistent.
Give me strength!
I want you to set up the most unachievable goals possible.
Thank you so much for the follow, Pastel.
25 hours a day. Maybe 8 days a week. I want you to keep up that intensity for a whole day and a half and then just drop it completely. And then I want you to find your passion back again after a month or so and then repeat the same process all over again. Did someone tell you that you should have a healthy, consistent schedule that you can manage? Tell them to shut the hell up, because that's not what we're trying to do here, boys. Drawing a manageable amount and keeping it going for 5 years versus drawing an unachievable amount and keeping it going for 2 days. I think I'll take the latter. And last but not least, make sure that you are not having any fun at all. I want you to think back on your childhood. I want you to ask yourself, what is the reason that you're making art? Is it because you want to create your own unique universes? Is it because you want to tell stories around these characters that you have in your head? Do you want to make a book? Do you want to make an animation? Find your core motivation and then do everything you can to avoid it. Just take that goal as an artist, okay? Take the thing
saw
that's always
Sam
made
Does
art
Art and
fun for
I'm
you as a
seated.
kid.
Yes.
And I want you to visualize it like a sweaty, stinky, slimy and crusty man following you and catcalling you down the street, okay? Run. Go in the opposite direction. Stay far away from that. Whatever it is. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I love his content. He's great. He gives really good advice too. Like, I agree with everything he says as an artist myself.
No. You know, we shouldn't even say that word. We shouldn't even say the F word. Don't have the F word with your art. Okay? Go do something dry. Lose your passion. We don't want to see an ounce of joy in any mark that you leave on that canvas. No passion, no energy, no emotion, no feeling. Seems like I've just described AI. Do not have the F word. Anyways, guys, hopefully you found this video helpful. Hopefully I've provided some good advice on how you can be the worst artist you could possibly be. Please follow all of these tips very closely, because if you deviate from any of them, there is a chance.
He's funny too. Hope he doesn't go bald. Right?
It's dangerous. Okay, remember, picture that.
I mean,
dried up.
I sure am going bald.
Sidewalk in the sun, just twitching in the wind, pathetic. That's who we want to be. And with just a bit of focus, just a little bit of discipline, by following these 6 tips, you too can be just like that cockroach. Anyways, guys, if you're also an aspiring bad artist, do not subscribe to my channel. Do not go to my Patreon, because I have tutorials there and you will get better from those tutorials. Avoid me like a plague. Stereotype me like it's 2020. And I'll see you guys on the next video, where hopefully we are all a little bit worse. Bye-bye. This is the stupidest video I've ever made. All right, so...
Oh, that's great. Oh, wait, what is it also to say?
Just before you go, just in case you're somebody who doesn't understand...
This is the stupidest video I've ever made.
Please do the opposite of everything I said in this video. Please.
Yes.
Please.
Please. Please. Great video. Great video. Jesus. Oh, man. I want to watch like one more. He's great. Hold on. Yeah, rating the most unpopular art advice from Reddit.
What's up, guys? Welcome back. Today we're going to be taking a look at some unconventional and unpopular art advice from Reddit, and we're going to try to figure out if they're actually good or if they should remain unpopular. Our first victim is Woman Thorn. Your taste level should always exceed your skill level. This is not failure, it's progress. So basically, you should always hate yourself to a certain degree, and this is a similar one too. Be your own worst critic. This might be controversial, since most people would tell you not to be too hard on yourself to keep you motivated. Personally, I am guilty of doing that. However, I feel like that would make people blind to their own flaws to protect their own fragile motivation. Jeez. Am I so condescending? This first one's gonna get a solid 9 out of 10 from me, because that's exactly how I feel about my work. But the second one, oh boy, where do I start? This phrase, be your own worst critic, needs a lot of elaboration. It doesn't mean that you should look at every single piece you produce, just tear it down, and verbally abuse yourself a little bit along the way. Because quite frankly, that is how you kill your passion. What I personally like to do when I don't like something about my work is I try to analyze it and learn from it. I want to see exactly what it is that I could have done differently. And instead of just hating on myself and berating myself for not being able to do this one thing, I instead take that lesson and I move it to the next piece, so that hopefully we can be better without hating ourselves. This is a great one, guys, and it's probably going to trigger some people. You don't have a style when you're new at art. That's
the last advice he gave, yes, or last tip, whatever. Yes, I actually do the same exact thing. I do critique my I critique my own work as I'm working on it. Like, as I was like finishing up, I was like, wait a second, I don't like the way that like the boob here, for instance, the one of her boobs, so whatever, the side of it, whatever. I was more straight. I had it straight. I was more kind of more like this, and I was like, you know what? I don't like how that is. I wanted to change it, so then I curved it more, and now I like that a lot better. And so yeah, I was just doing stuff like even as I'm drawing, but even like looking back at my old work, I look back at like once I finish a piece, I'm always like picking it apart and be like, okay, I could have done that better. I could have done this better. Don't really like what I did here because when I first see it, I'm like, okay, it looks good. But then like when I come back with fresh eyes, even when I like take a break from a piece and come back to it next day, I still do that. And then like even like as I'm finished, I'm like, oh, it looks so good. And then like I post it and a week later, go back and look at it. Oh, okay, I see problems. Like, so I'm always critiquing myself for sure. But what was he again? What was he saying? He was saying
see exactly what it is that I could have done differently. And instead of just hating on myself and berating myself for not being able to do this one thing, I instead take that lesson and I move it to the next piece so that hopefully we can be better without hating.
Okay, yeah.
This is a great one, guys.
Agreed.
It's probably going to trigger some people. You don't have a style when you're new at art. That style is just your comfort zone, and it becomes a major hindrance to your learning and your artistic growth. Artists that are just getting into their groove, producing more, getting a flow to create more consistent,
yes and no.
Oftentimes will claim a style no matter how amateur it looks. Oh, jeez. This becomes their comfort zone, and they look for ways to improve that style, but they're limiting themselves and boxing themselves in. When they ask for criticism and people give them feedback, they often brush it off as, well, that's just my style. The minute you get comfortable in your art is the minute you stop improving.
Yeah.
Now, this might be indeed controversial for people who like to claim a style, but I definitely 100% agree with this. Personally, I see a lot of this too. I see a lot of people just picking a style, and suddenly everything they do revolves around this one specific style. Now, that's not to say you can't do that style well. I'm sure you could, but your overall growth, your overall trajectory as an artist is going to take a big hit if you limit yourself and box yourself in. So that's going to get a solid 10 out of 10 for me.
Very
Now,
much
if that
agree.
last tip hit really hard, just wait till you see this one. Holy moly. Focusing on a messy style can allow you to practice composition faster and hide some of your flaws, but in the long term, you're just avoiding learning the difficult things that would actually improve your art. If you only do messy, do pristine. If you only do pristine, do messy. Both of you will learn something. But it's my style. Is it? Or is it a comfort touch you don't want to let go of? Just because your preferred style is one thing does not mean you should never experiment with other styles. Oh, Jesus. Just as solid as the last one. That's going to be a 10 out of 10. You know, while we're on the topic of style, we might as well just go all in on this. Just brace yourself. My unpopular opinion.
So I actually ended up changing my style, and you could see this with the old version of Tana here. Can I? Oh, I can't. Okay. Damn it. No, I'll open up in here. Open up in Hold on a second. So like, see, okay, cool. All right. So like with this, the way I used to do it, is oh, you're on the raid, Boomin'. What's going on, Boomin'?
Boomin' Banana is coming in hot with a raid of 5 viewers.
Boomin' raid. What's going on, raiders? How's your stream, Boomin'? Everyone go follow Boomin', who's not following him. He's an amazing streamer. My shout out button works. There we go.
You're breathtaking.
How was your stream? You're playing some Fall Guys? It was good. Played a good horror game. Finished up with Fall Guys. Got 3 crowns. Nice. What horror game were you playing? Wait for an answer. For those who are new, don't know who I am, my name is Ace Play and Draw. I do art, and I play games. And tonight we are doing some art. We were drawing some art. I'm also reacting to some Sam Does Art. He's a great content creator. I love his stuff. It was called Pieces of Me from Amica Games. Okay, I really like their games. I'll have to check that out. If you have like a link, you can post it in chat, and I'll take a look, or you can just DM me, whatever you want to do, or whatever. I'm just DM it in Discord or something like that. But I'm glad you had a good time. It sounds like a good time. But yeah, I was just discussing, because we had some. He just talked about something that was posted in Reddit. About styles and how some artists will have a style, people will critique it, and then they're like, well, that's just my style, and then they're just so involved in their style that they don't improve, basically, is what the whole concept was of that. And I was given an example that I'm drawing Tana tonight, which is one of my OCs, for those that don't know. And so what this is the drawing I did back in 2022. And I was stuck with this style for a long time, where I was hand painting everything. Well, I mean, I still hand paint, but like the way I was doing it was everything was I was doing a soft brush, and I don't know. I'm trying to think of what else I was doing here. I still was doing the thick lines. The thick lines I still do. The thick lines and the thin lines. But I think even then, I had this style, and I was like, well, I'm just gonna stick with the style, but it just didn't look good, because you can tell, like, you can see how I would try to blend it in. It just wasn't blending. But I was like, well, whatever, it's how it is. It is what it is. And I just kind of had that mentality. And then finally, I think it was Kato who was like, you think you need to change things up. You need to do it differently. And then so I was like, yeah, you know what? I took that criticism to heart, and so yeah, I changed up my style of at least the way I do my coloring. The lines are still, for the most part, the same. I think my line art has improved, but yeah, I'm even like trying to do different poses, because she's like really been pushing me to do different poses, and change the way I do my lighting and my colors and everything. So yeah, my style has like completely changed. Even after changing over to Clip Studio, I was able to. Even that helped me change my style, the way I do things and everything. You have the. I'll check that out. Thank you so much for posting that. I will put this over here, and I will check that out later. Oh, they have a lot of games. Oh, Summer 58? Oh, I think I played that game. Okay, yeah. Okay, I have... Oh, did I play this game? I'm checking right now. I feel like I do have that game. Games. Yeah, I do. Yep. Okay, I have played that game. That was a good game. I think I played it on stream too. Pieces of Me just came out a couple days ago. Oh, nice. Okay. I think, okay, now that I know that they have more games, I should check out You Must, because I think You Must was kind of like a sequel to Summer 58, I think. I just remember them kind of, the game like ends, and then they kind of set up for like a continuation of the story. So I don't know where the continuation continues up. I completely forgot about Summer 58. But yeah, I'll definitely have to look into that and see which ones continue. I would like to continue that story. Summer 58 is pretty good though, I would say. It's got that It's got that Outlast. Was it Outlast? Was it Outlast of the game? Yeah, Outlast. Yeah. It's got that Outlast vibe to it, which is pretty cool. Like, I wouldn't say it's the same like, concept, but it is the same vibe. Like, it looks like Outlast, especially with the night vision camera. Yeah. This one, the continuation of another one of their games, the one called September 7th. Okay, yeah, I'll have to look and see like which of the games connects with what. That way I can then figure out like what the story is. Because just in case like maybe their story before the Summer of '58. But yeah. Anyways, let's go ahead and continue this. And if you need to go and you know, do some post stream stuff, go ahead, take care of yourself for sure. But yeah, we're gonna continue with Sam Plays. I'm gonna continue with the drawing here. Or Sam Plays, sorry. Sam Does Art. So I'm about to say.
Opinion is only amateur artists worry about style. It's not something to worry about at all. Your personal aesthetic sensitivities and individual anatomy will give you your style. It's not something to chase. People put too much stock in this and lose focus on practicing foundations. It's silly. Style is something you have to build. Finding it is only 10% of the work. Beginning artists need to focus less on finding their style and more on experimenting and learning. Now, I just want to give my 2 cents on this, okay? So if you guys follow me on Instagram, you will know that I have a relatively discernible style. So it might be natural for you to assume that these posts would offend me personally, and they don't. In fact, these fellows are spitting nothing but truth. Now, when you see me make a piece like this, or like this, or like this, throughout that process, not once am I thinking about creating a specific style. And to me, that's the coolest thing, because you don't find your style. It's something that naturally happens to you as you put in the practice and get better. Your style is going to be a mixture of all the artists who inspire you, plus your personal gravitation towards certain aesthetics. Get that practice in, get those hours in. Eventually you're going to realize, wait a minute, I tend to draw this a certain way and I tend to draw that a certain way. Huh. Could this be a style? Here's an interesting take on how you should learn, and this might be one of the takes of all time. I would say not to listen to people who say you have to learn X before you can learn Y. Examples: you have to learn to draw from reference before you can learn to draw from imagination. You have to learn realism before you learn other styles. You have to learn basics before you can improvise and do your own thing. I won't knock on anyone who wants to do things in a specific order either, but I don't feel that there are any hard or fast rules that apply to everyone. If drawing from imagination appeals to you, then draw from imagination. If you want things to be more realistic, then use references. Oh my god. Okay, so you won't knock on anyone who wants to do things in a specific order, but I'm gonna knock on you. This one should truly remain unpopular. Look, I understand this. I understand the sentiment. But like, obviously, you want to draw things that you want to draw. You want to practice things that you want to practice. So the idea is to just do whatever you want, whatever makes you happy. But this does not change the fact that if you try to learn to draw something without references, you will never know how to actually draw that thing. If you try to break all the rules and stylize your character's anatomy without actually understanding the real anatomy behind it, you will never be effective at stylizing your character. So yeah, you want to do it, you can do it. But just know that if you want your results to actually improve in a meaningful way, some of these you have to learn X before you learn Y examples are pretty much unavoidable. That's a 2 out of 10. And I feel like some of these points here are actually very relevant to what we just talked about. Anime art is just realism with an anime face slapped on. People don't understand that their favorite mangaka has thousands of hours doing realistic studies and portraits. That's what I'm saying. It goes back to learning X before you can do Y effectively. The anatomy in anime is actually very realistic, barring the head and face. That's especially the case for male characters, so stuff like figure drawing / life drawing have a great carryover to anime arts. Though I think you don't have to focus less on anime, but rather you should apply the fundamentals to your anime arts. I could not have said that better myself, you absolute beast of a man. I think when people say stuff like you should learn anatomy before you do anime, there's a certain level of misinterpretation. Some people might assume that means I'm just not allowed to do any anime now until I actually get a grasp of my fundamentals. But that's not the case. You can do 2 things at the same time. You can learn anime style and learn anatomy. And eventually your anime knowledge and your anatomy knowledge start blending into each other, and you have this beautiful amalgamation, this beautiful baby. Stop drawing anime characters. 1 out of 10. You sound like an elementary school art teacher who hates their job. Stop it. Learn to like making art before you learn how to be good at art. I see so many people say stuff like, I hate my
not a
art.
problem.
I'm unhappy because I feel like I'm not
Do your thing.
fast enough.
I'll
It's
be
like,
here
if
if you
hate
come
what you're
back. If
doing
you
so
don't,
much,
well,
it's
thank you so
going
much
to
for the
be
raid.
really hard to get better. You can work on improving your skills without being absolutely miserable in the process. And this kind of goes back to my first point. Like, yeah, critique yourself. Try to find the things in your art that you don't like, but also at the same time, just don't be mean to yourself. You know, like, just chill out. Relax. Literally, don't bother with trying to improve. Oh my god. That's a hot take right there, okay? Let me rephrase that. Don't bother trying to improve if it takes away your joy for art. Okay, now we're talking. You might literally just need to take a step back and take a break. I've seen so many people, including myself, fall apart on their progress just because we're trying to force ourselves to a pace that isn't working and makes you start hating the idea of picking up a pencil. I can agree with some of the stuff that's being said here, but I don't agree with the phrase, don't bother trying to improve, because I think we should always be trying to improve. Now, just like everything else in life, this is a balancing act. It's never shameful to take a break. There are many days where I just cannot put anything down on the canvas. It just doesn't look right. And I just say to myself, you know what? It's not happening today, Chief. So I just go and drink my sorrows away. This one's really interesting. Drawing advice that I live by. It's about learning how to see, not how to draw.
I will say that I haven't had one of those days in a long time. I think it's because I've been so passionate, but I have had those days. And but I was like, but I really need to focus and I really need to get this done. So I would like kind of like force myself, and I think it would show in the art. I don't know, I don't remember which pieces it was, but it was like a long time ago. And like I said, I haven't had that problem in a minute. So anyways, continue on.
Might sound contradictory when your drawing advice is not about learning how to draw, but I think I know what he's talking about here. I would say probably 50% or more of drawing is actually in the observing part. It's not in the actual drawing. When I was a little baby learning art in the Chinese art schools, we'd be, doing graphite drawings of still life, and one of the rules that they taught me was, for however long I spend looking down at my paper, I should spend that exact same amount of time or more looking up at my subject. And I think that really ingrained in me just how important it is to actually observe your subject to be able to draw it well. Even though not many words were used here, that's a 10 out of 10. Why use many words when few words do trick, This one is genuinely beautiful, and this is an unpopular advice that I think I needed to hear as well. Not everything you create needs to be posted on social media. This is something that I have to remind myself very often too, is that when I make art, I do it for myself. Maybe it's to capture a feeling that I felt, or it could just be therapeutic for me to sit down and paint, water. But at the end of the day, you do that thing for yourself, right? You're not thinking about like, ooh, I really don't want to do this thing, but my followers want to see this thing, so I guess I'll do this thing. And then you do it with no passion, and your followers realize you have no passion, and they don't end up liking this thing anyways. I think I've heard a really interesting saying from Rick Rubin, where he mentions that no artist, whether it be visual or music, knows exactly what the people want. We all have instances where we make something that we're so proud of, we put it out there, and it just doesn't get any traction.
Much love. See ya, boom. Yeah, I know. I agree with this as well. Like tonight, like I could be doing fan art tonight. I was working on that Sora piece, but I didn't want to continue working on it right now. It's like I'm gonna put that off. That's something I do want to get done, but it's like I wasn't feeling it, so I'm not gonna force myself to continue working on the Sora piece right now. I'm gonna basically put it off to the side for now. I'll work on this, and then maybe take a little of a break, come back, and then continue working on the Sora piece. Especially since like I know that like there's a part of it that's gonna take forever to draw. I'm like, ugh, I'm not looking forward to it, but I'm gonna get it done anyways because I do want to get it done. It's just there's always something about an art piece. I'm just like, oh, I gotta do this part. Ugh, there's always like one little part that just I don't want to do it, but I'm gonna do it anyways because it's like otherwise the piece doesn't look good. There's always that one little spot, one little piece.
And we also have those instances where somehow a piece that didn't really resonate with you ended up resonating with a lot of people, and got a lot of attention online. So the bottom line is nobody
Yep.
knows. Okay, so if you have to make something and post it on social media, just know that you should be making that thing for yourself in the first place. This might be a shot at me. Don't follow art advice from art influencers, especially when starting out. Turn off the phone and just draw. You're gonna get a 5 out of 10 because number one, I'm biased and it's only half true. The thing is, you don't just draw and get better. You have to learn from something, okay? Even if you're self-taught, you're absorbing that information from someone. And social media has just got this abundance of information that you can actually learn from. But I can definitely see where he's coming from, because if you follow every art advice from every influencer you ever see, you're gonna be trash. The amount of irresponsibly bad advice
Yep.
out there is tremendous. You, as an intelligent art baby, you have to be very, very picky with who you take advice from. My go-to rule is if somebody's ever trying to teach me something in art, I go and look at their work. I just want to see if they actually have substance to back up what they're saying. Now, this is going to be especially true for short form content. So if somebody's trying to teach you something like anatomy, for example, but their own anatomy is a little bit wonky, you got to really take that advice with a grain of salt. Make sure that you learn and take advice from people that you trust and people who have done it. All right, so you know what that means. You should not, absolutely not be listening to me. There's a huge emphasis
100%.
now on originality, even as a beginner artist. While plagiarism is unacceptable, I feel like students and professionals alike should return to practicing some studies of the greats. This used to be very commonplace practice, but I'm seeing it less and less nowadays. This is a 10 out of 10, 100% true. Again, talking about my SamDoesArts lore, when I was a baby, when I was learning how to draw in the more academic side of Chinese art school, oh my god, we did tons of studies of great artists. We studied watercolor still life drawings from great artists. We studied graphite bust drawings from great artists. And it's very liberating because it was like a completely shameless study. You're trying to get as close to what they did as possible, and in the process you're absorbing all the things that they're doing. So yeah, bring that back. Why not? This is fantastic. I don't want to end on this thread because this is kind of an old thread, but I found this absolutely hilarious. Pinterest girl paintings are just boring as especially now that there's so many accounts deliberately doing the SamDoesArts Disney-fied style. No hate to him, he's very skilled, but the genre as a whole is just so annoying now. I swear to god, the amount of people I've seen just trying to copy SamDoesArts' style is so ridiculously many, it's sickening. Don't run from your responsibilities and find your own style. First of all, I'm sorry I didn't see this earlier, so then I had a chance to talk about it, but I think this is fine. This is honestly perfectly fine. I think if you see another artist's work that really just inspires you in some way, I don't think there's anything wrong with trying to replicate some of the stylistic choices that they make. I mean, personally, when I first started stylizing, I had to copy a lot of other artists as well, but you know, eventually you learn to kind of integrate these different elements into your own style and start kind of adding your own personal touch to it. So I'll just say, if you guys like the work that I do, there's nothing wrong with studying it and trying to replicate the style. You know, oftentimes that's exactly
And that's what any
people do to
artist.
actually
That's what any artist. Like, I always think that you should always go and study study other artists. That's how I started getting better immediately. I first started studying Tetsuya Nomura, creator of Kingdom Hearts. He is an artist himself. He before working on Kingdom Hearts, he was the character artist for multiple Final Fantasies. He created pretty much all the characters for Final Fantasy 7, all Final Fantasy 10, drew them all himself. Before then working on Kingdom Hearts, and he created all those characters, drew them, everything. So and then I went on to study. I think later on I wouldn't necessarily study, more like observing Todd McFarlane and the way that he was doing his work. So I picked up some things from him while watching. He used to do a lot of like quick sketch videos where he would just he would have somebody with a camera or cell phone, whatever it was, record him, jump on his drawn monitor, and would quickly draw a character. Like he would draw Venom or Spider-Man or whatever, and he would, at the same time, he was given a lesson just within those 2 to 3 minutes. It was great. I love those videos. He doesn't do them anymore. I think he's just too busy to do it, but yeah. And then other than that, like, those are the two artists I know I've studied. I can't remember if I studied anyone else, but yeah, definitely like there's no shame in studying copying. Like when you're studying an artist, like you're basically copying their work. You're trying to redo what they did to learn. So there's nothing wrong with it. As long as you're not saying it's yours. As long as you're saying that, okay, well, this is what I did. Yeah, I did this, but like this is based on someone else's art. This is a study. You know, as long as you're admitting that you're not admitting that this is not yours. This is not a piece of your own. This is just a study piece. Then you're fine. Oh, and ad did start. So I apologize.
Try to level up their own art and eventually kind of implement some of their own personal flares and touches into it. So nothing wrong with that, okay? At least that's how I personally feel about it, okay? Now with AI, that's a whole different beast. I hate that.
Mind,
Anyways, guys, so those are some of the most unpopular and controversial art advice that I've found on Reddit. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of this, okay? Do you agree with all of these? Do you disagree with some of them? Or do you have more that you want to add? Subscribe if you want to see more art-related content. I also just released a new hair tutorial on my Patreon. This is the most comprehensive, best hair tutorial in the world. So check it out if you guys want to support the channel. I would really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys on the next video.
Well, if I need help with anything, it's with freaking hands. Still can't get hands right. I do my best to make it as good as possible, but I'm still like, eh. Why are hands so hard? Alright, that was a good video. Definitely check out Sam Does Art. And I'm just gonna go back to just being just me.